G'day guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back for another episode of Wasteland Survival. So, in between the last episode and this episode, I've actually done quite a bit of work around this train station. So, the first thing obviously is I changed all of these blocks here on the side to be the sci-fi interior walls. I also added this little portion on the roof here because yeah, the roof was just so wide, and with it being kind of like an empty grey space, it just looked wrong. So yeah, I just added this, which is literally just half blocks and then basically just some half beam blocks as well. Now, a major change I decided to make was actually moving the entire structure forward by one block. What I mean by that is just basically where the train parks. So this actually used to be one block further away from that. So that actually used to come out to about here. So I guess there's kind of two reasons why I've done that. So the first reason is it does kind of look a little bit better. But the second reason is if I kind of grab the tram and move it forward. Okay, so with the tram moved fully forward, you can kind of see that it comes up against this first railing here. Now before, obviously, it used to come up to this railing here. So I think what I'm gonna do is get rid of this railing here, but still leave the catwalk, of course. And then basically set my autopilot point to be there in between everything. So if the autopilot kind of overshoots by, you know, this much or by like a full block and a half, then it doesn't really matter too much. And then, you know, when I want to dock up the train, I can. And yeah, I also went ahead and I changed these, or this block here, to a beam block. And then I went ahead and I put some, yeah, just some catwalks over the top. And yeah, I'm not sure if I'd done this in the last episode or not, but I actually changed the color of these to be, yeah, obviously black, yellow, all the way along for all of these railings here. So yeah, I did that too. Added in some couches here, some planters, yeah, just some kind of basic decorations, I guess. Also down here, which is really hard to see, I actually went ahead and I tapered this up. So I changed that as well. I don't know if I actually did that in the last episode. I don't think I did. So yeah. Okay. So the other thing I was thinking about was what am I actually going to do for these walls here? So I've come up with a couple of different ideas. So obviously there's this idea, which is something I've used before. We can just use the standard interior walls. We can use the other side of the sci-fi interior wall block. We can also use, yeah, some windows. So we can use that. We can use these blocks here, which I don't know, I don't really like the look of them, and then also the fact that you have to put something behind them to actually seal this space. So that's a bit of a downside. Then you've got them facing the other way, which doesn't look great. You've got these ones here, which is basically the same as those but upside down. So honestly, I think I like this idea the best. So I do think I'm going to go with that. Okay, so the other thing that I kind of been experimenting with is putting in some sort of beam blocks here. Now the unfortunate thing about doing this is I've had to put in quite a few blocks on the outside. So it does look pretty good, to be honest. I might change one other thing and I'll show you that in a minute, but yeah, so it means that I'm going to have to weld all of this stuff up in survival, which is going to be a pain, but I don't know. I kind of think it's worth it. So, alright. Yeah, and what I've done, and So what I could have done is just gone like instead of having this inner block here, I could just put a regular armor block there, but it just doesn't really look that great. So what I've tried to do is put in both sides of these beam blocks so you can see the whole thing, and then it kind of has a bit more depth to it, and it has the full structure, because if you have like, let's take one of these blocks here for example. So if you see this block here, like it doesn't have any structure to it, so without it being behind this block here, it just looks strange. So that's why I've had to space out the entire roof like a full block away from here. So yeah, that's why there's so many blocks there, and that's why it's going to be such a pain to actually weld up. But the only problem with this is, like, as you're traveling through the tunnel, you just can't really notice this. Even though it looks really cool from this angle, you just can't even tell it's there. So what I've tried to do here is kind of go inwards a little bit and change up all these blocks so that you can kind of notice it. So you can definitely notice that more than, let's say, this one up here. So yeah, I think I am going to do this whole thing, even though it's going to be a pain to weld in survival. I think I'll do it anyway. Why not? So yeah, alright, okay, so yeah, that's right. The only other thing I really changed was these lights. So I'll turn off my lights for example. So somebody in the comment section of the last video, or the video before this one, sorry, the video before whatever, mentioned that probably these lights are too close together, and yeah, I kind of agree. So what I've done is just deleted the lights that were in between in every single section. So rather than there being, you know, a light there and then another one there and then, you know, one of those there, I've just basically deleted the ones in the middle. So now we have a light every 10 blocks, and it kind of gives this these dark patches and these rings, so it looks, I think, a little bit better. It gives it a little bit more of a lighting aesthetic look. Alright, well, I think I'm pretty happy with the blueprint the way it is, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and save it, and then we can move this into survival and actually get this thing printed out. Alright, and here we are. So the blueprint is pretty much complete. I went ahead and I actually added in, I think it was an additional 2 kind of posts here. So yeah, I added another 2 here, finished up the lights on the floor, did the walls, yeah, and everything is looking pretty good. Also, what I went ahead and done is I made a copy of this entire blueprint and then just sort of chopped it right here, and then I was left with this station over here, which is obviously station 2. And then what I basically decided to do from that point was go ahead and rename everything in this station to like station 2, and then everything in the other station to kind of like station 1. So yeah, I'm not totally locked in with this size. Like, I can make this tunnel bigger if I want to. Simply all I need to do is just move this forward like 10 blocks, and then, you know, or 8 blocks, or however many blocks it is between these 2 pillars, and then, you know, essentially it's like adding another little bit of length onto the room. So I've done this purely so that when I actually do go to build the second station, it's just a lot easier to do so. So at this point, I haven't really decided if I'm going to change this station and make it different to the first one. I suppose that's something I could do later on, but for now, I just decided to add it to this blueprint. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll release this blueprint onto the workshop, and I'll do the tram separately. Yeah, for whatever reason, when I actually copy and pasted this entire thing, because the tram was connected to this connector, the wheels actually managed to weld themselves to the floor. So I believe it was, Yeah, these wheels here, they basically welded themselves to the floor, so it essentially became a part of the train station. So, yeah, it took me a while to figure that out and actually get it out. So, if I'll leave the link in the video description, but they'll be separate, so you'll have to kind of copy and paste both of them in. Or maybe I'll just do a world blueprint. I'm not sure. There'll be something in the link or in the description. So, okay, last things last. So, what I was thinking about doing is I was actually thinking about making some sort of a, I don't know, an area where you can kind of walk under the tram and perform repairs, because, you know, it would be nice if you could actually access the wheels, even though, you know, I kind of can in the game. It would still be pretty cool if we had like maybe some catwalks or something like that here, so that we can get to the wheels and repair things if we need to. I would really like to have, like, maybe what we could do is get rid of some of these blocks on the side, and then we'll bring up the catwalks. So the catwalks would basically be sitting out about that far, and then you'd have this gap in the center. I'd really like there to be like kind of a lift that lifts you up a little bit, so you can actually gain access to these wheel suspensions. But yeah, I don't know if that's even possible. Not with catwalks. I don't think the collisions are good enough or robust enough to let you do that. You could use small block. I think that would actually work quite well. I have seen that done before, but the whole contraption would be an absolute pain. So I think I'll just kind of settle with a catwalk here. So the only problem is though, how to actually get down here. So I've got one option. I could just put a set of stairs that kind of goes from this point down. So just like a random set of stairs sitting in the floor. Only problem is it would kind of ruin the flow of this room. So you've got like this open area, and then out of the blue you just kind of got this weird set of stairs that just lead down into this part here, and it's probably maybe even a little bit too public. Like, yeah, people can just kind of walk down there. So what I'm thinking instead is maybe we'll go for like a door here, and then obviously that door will come out on the side somewhere here. I think it's like, is it here? I think it's this one. Yeah, so it'll come out here, and then we'll have to go all the way down to about this level. I think it might actually be this level. Well, I never really considered that either. So yeah, okay, looks like we're gonna go under these blocks too. So what happens if I delete this block and then this block? Yeah, so we end up right where I wanted to be. So yeah, that's pretty much where my two doors need to be. Now we just need to kind of figure out a stairwell between those two. And to be perfectly honest, I probably should have done this before I went ahead and copied either side of the station and called one Station 1 and Station 2. That would have saved me a lot of time, but oh well, you live and learn. Alright, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like that, because I'm pretty certain there was one block space, and then I've gone and deleted that block and replaced it with this block. So yeah, that should be okay. Alright, so as I was saying before, we could just get rid of these blocks here and replace them with like interior walls or something. So I might go for the old school ones though. Let's see how they look. Yeah, it actually looks pretty good. It gives a decent feel. Okay, so enough messing around with that. Let's put down these catwalks and see how they look. That one. Now, placement of the door. So I was thinking about just having the door like kind of here. But maybe I can actually move it further. So how much further can I actually move it? So just grind this block as a marker. So I would have really liked the door to come out in the middle of this part, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. So I think that's pretty acceptable though. I seem to be stuck. So we'll go ahead and we'll get rid of these 2 blocks on either side, and we'll place a door there. I feel like one of these sliding hatch doors, this is the perfect use for this block, because it looks very industrial. So we'll place that block there, and then if we have a look from the other side, it really suits this kind of setting. So yeah, definitely happy to use that. Let's fill that in. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so let's open up these doors, and let's go to one side at least. Now I wonder, because normal doors, or at least the half doors, the offset doors, you can't actually attach anything to the side of them, or at least catwalks you can't. So I wonder if you can do that with these doors. You can. Oh, so good. Okay, fantastic. And then we'll just go ahead and place in another door here. Okay, and there we go. So there is our other door. And I think that looks really good, actually. At least from down here it does. We'll see how it looks up there. But I think this is a good little bit, just so you can do a bit of maintenance on the train if you wanted to. Alright, so now for the stairwell. Right, so I think what I'll do here is I'll put in a whole bunch of interior walls, some sci-fi interior walls. I'm going to make heavy use of these things, I think. Except I'm going to turn mirror mode off. No, I won't. I'll leave it on, but mirror mode on the other side, the blocks will be like that. So I'm going to have to go back and fix this later on, which is a bit of a pain. But anyway, okay, so probably going to go out like, I think maybe 3 blocks. So see how we go with that. I'll go 4 blocks on the other side. So then from here we want just these regular interior walls. And then I'm pretty sure I want some stairs. I'll just make sure this is right, but the reason why I'm counting this out is because, yeah, sure, I could just go for a standard old stairwell with a straight up wall, 1 block tall, 1 block wide. But since we're going to be descending probably like 8, well, not 8, but like 4 levels, maybe even 5 levels with these stairs, it makes sense for there to be some sort of design on the walls beside the stairs. So I think I'm going to do something similar to what I did in the control tower staircase. So you know how like I had pillars on the side of those. So what I need to do first though, obviously, is put in some more of these stairs. Okay, so I think I'm at the level I need to be. One trick I found is I was using like 2 blocks to then join another set of stairs, but if you do this, then it's pretty much airtight and it's going to work out pretty good. And you only use 1 block instead of 2, so yeah, I found that pretty cool. So I think we're at the right level. So let's just run a line of blocks out to about here, and let's run a line of blocks underneath this thing. Oh, how's that? Yeah. That was completely coincidental. That was not paid acting. Alright, so, on the sides, I don't know if I really want to keep this block here. I think, honestly, and it really pains me to say it, but I'm going to get rid of that and then start my stairs here. So yeah, I'm going to have to replace all of these. Okay, there we go. Crisis averted. I suppose while I'm here, I may as well get rid of these blocks. And we'll just go ahead and replace these with sci-fi interior walls. The orientation of which... Wait, is it? No, it's regular interior walls. Yeah, so it doesn't matter that mirror mode doesn't work properly with these ones, so we can just place them and forget them. Right, so from this point, now I believe the way that it used to work was, okay, so we had this color, then I essentially had, I probably should have checked out how much space we need before I put the stairs in fully, but anyway, here we are. So it went like that, and then behind this block, was essentially a square block. So one of these, and then above that I had one of these, except it was kind of like the dark color. And then you kind of just rinse and repeat that whole procedure. And then obviously behind that is going to have to be a wall. So if I copy this color, and I think I've actually gone out further than what I need to, because I can just place a wall here like this behind this. So, and then obviously there would be another pillar kind of like there, and then up here you can put in some lights as well. So it's still kind of a compact hallway, but at the same time it's like a little bit more interesting than just a flat wall. So, and then I think from there, from memory, we had in some of these ones, so just the 2x1 tips, and then these blocks here. And then I can put a sheet of glass there as well, and then just leave the roof kind of like showing, or at least the rock. So it's still kind of airtight, but you can kind of see the rocks and stuff like that. So I can do something like that too. But I don't know. Let's I am really tempted to move this whole deal. Although, does it really matter if it's one block further out? I guess not really, because it's already a pretty long walk anyway. Okay, so that pretty much concludes the stairwell. So as you can see, you know, we've got this clear space here where we can go ahead and put in some windows. Yeah, so we could do something like that. Not exactly sure. I'll kind of leave the roof for now. I think I'm just going to leave it as regular armor blocks. But I'm not sure. Anyway, let's get this hallway done. So I think I'm just going to go for what I've done previously in other parts of this series, and we're just going to go with sci-fi interior walls. So I might skip the corner though, and maybe on the corner we can put another block, because yeah, obviously when you're going around a corner with these things, there's a different side to the block that's exposed, and I kind of don't want that. So let's run this all the way there. That corner's fine obviously because it's hidden, but maybe here we could go for this block, which I think I probably will go for that, because that actually looks pretty good. Now, the roof of this, don't think I'm going to get too fancy with that. Probably just going to put in regular armor blocks. Alright, well I've kind of stopped here because I need to come up with a decent transition. So if that line there is my roof, then I need to kind of start my roof from the hallway to the stairwell at this point here, and put in that block, and then put in one of these, and then that kind of completes my hallway. So yeah, that looks pretty good, I think. Especially, yeah, this block on the corner actually does look quite nice. So happy with how that turned out. Okay, now we just need to put a roof on this stuff. You might have noticed that I'm using these blocks here. It's just to try and save on steel plates so that I don't use... Whoops, I wasn't meant to delete that block. Yeah, so I don't use a whole ton of steel plates to get this done. I still will, but at least I might use a little bit less, which would be nice. Okay, so that's the last block in place, so that's everything sealed up. Like I said, I kind of wish I had done this before. I actually went ahead and put on the second station. So I'm going to need to, number one, swap this. Yeah, you can see these blocks are upside down on this side. So I'm going to need to fix that on this side and then replicate it in all four corners. So yeah, that's going to be fun, but let's see how it looks from this side. Okay, so we have no door. So that's definitely a problem. Let's place in our door then. yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. And then we make our way through, go down the stairs. And see, that looks so much better than just a regular straight stairwell with a flat wall. And the other problem with doing it that way is that, like here, I can have some lights. And you can have a light here because, you know, there's a block worth of spacing. But when you're talking about angles here, and then you've got this block above you, and then one of these blocks, number one, you can't attach a light to it, and then number two, even if you could, your collision is too close to this, so the light's going to collide with this or the roof. So yeah, that's kind of a good way to do stairwells. Alright, so I think I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I would actually like to look at it from this angle though and see how it looks. Yeah, so I think it looks reasonably good. Like I said, I just need to, yeah, do the same thing on the other side. So, alright, let me smash that out and then we'll see how it all looks in the end. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've added in these stairwells on each corner of this whole thing. So, I basically did the exact same thing as I did with the station. So I basically cut them off the original blueprint, copied them, changed the name of stuff, and then just pasted them on the sides. It just makes it so much easier. And yeah, you can kind of tell there's two of these things now. So now that I've, you know, kind of finished everything I want to on the outside, on the inside, I actually wanted to check if this thing was airtight. So yeah, it turns out it actually wasn't. So I actually went ahead and downloaded the build info mod because I tried for about an hour, maybe even two, to try and get this thing airtight. And at first I thought it was maybe these blocks here, but for some reason it kind of said that there was a block here leaking somewhere, but I went over this thing 100 times and I could not see any block that was missing that was causing a leak. So I am kind of curious if the roof was causing the issue, because on this one over here you can see I've just changed these blocks here. I don't see why these would not be airtight, but I changed them anyway. So yeah, I am kind of curious to see what exactly on this is not airtight. Well, there you have it. Build info is saying that it's coming from this point here. So what I did in my testing before I went ahead and got build info is I actually sealed off this station. Yeah, I sealed off the station and I checked the pressure in here and it was fine. It was only this tunnel, so I am starting to think that it was a combination of these blocks, and then I think there was a block here somewhere that might have been missing, and then that was pretty much it. Anyway, enough rambling about being airtight and all that. I now have a blueprint that I am pretty happy with, so we're going to go ahead and take this into survival. So I will see you guys in survival in a minute. Okay, so here we are, finally back in survival. It's actually been quite a while since I've been back. Okay, so let's grab the spectator camera and have a look here. Yeah, so as you can see, this is basically where it sits. I honestly think it doesn't need to be any longer than it does. It's a shame really, because the tunnel, yeah, I would like it to actually be longer. So yeah, I don't really know what to do about that. I guess I could maybe put one of these crew quarters on this wall and then move the tunnel to go that way. Or we could just simply direct the tunnel that way. But I would need to go back to probably, I would say like this point here or something. Yeah, so something like that. Because ideally I would want it here, directly behind the base. But the problem is I've got my lift there. I could even place it, have a second door on the lift. But the lift's, nah, the lift doesn't have a spot where I could put a door there. like it's not right up against the wall, because it gets too close to that wall. Okay, well, ideally that's probably what I would have liked to have done, I guess. But we're just going to have to kind of place it here for now, or maybe move it over a little bit. But anyway, it kind of comes out to about like so. My missile silo is probably going to be somewhere here, or at least the middle of it. So when we pop out of here, it's basically right on top of this like mound. So I dare say we'll grind that whole thing out, and it ends up in a pretty decent spot. It's like almost right in the middle of that little formation there, so I think that's going to be perfect. Yeah, I would really like it to be behind there like that, but I just don't know how I'm going to get it there, especially from here. So if I do it from this side, then I would imagine it could only be about this long. And we could place it here, which I guess, honestly, that would work. I really don't know. I think I'm just going to go with it here because that, yeah, it's just what I've planned to do for so long, so we'll just go with that. So now the obvious challenge is, how am I going to actually build this thing? So, I'm going to manually weld a lot of the first portions of this thing, because I'm just going to have no other way to actually do that sort of stuff. So, as I was saying, yeah, this thing is going to be a bit of a pain to build. I'm probably going to drill this initial section out by hand. So, if I go into spectator camera, I'm going to drill out at least this area here, which is like that first room you enter, then the staircase. I'll do those two areas there, and I'll see if I have enough room then to get one of these little mining ships in there, and then also a welding ship as well. I always said that I need to build a second one, and maybe, you know, 84 episodes in, or however many episodes this is, we might actually finally get around to doing that. And I'll think what I'll do is I'll print a small welding ship and a small drilling ship in here. I will use those to do the station. And then once I've got the station done and I have enough room to fit in a train, then I'm going to make a printing train. So I'll probably go for a couple of little cargo containers, welders going in every direction, maybe some drills on the front so that it can drill the tunnel and weld it at the same time. So yeah, that is my plan, but we will see how we go. This is probably going to be another horrendously overcomplicated, pretty looking design thing that I try and do. So yeah, I hope you guys are ready for that. Alright, so let me get this first section drilled out, and then we'll kind of see where we're at. Alright, and there we have it. So I've drilled out the entire front section, stairwell, and the beginning of the station. So yeah, it actually took me, I'd say probably an hour just to get to this point. Honestly, it wasn't too bad. I guess, yeah, it is pretty bad. It took me forever. So what I want to do now is actually go ahead and build some sort of a printer so that we can print off one of these small grid ships. So I need a rotor. And then we want to add a small head to it. Cool. Alright, so we've got our rotor. Let's weld this thing up. And I'll probably project it out there somewhere. And then have a set of pistons coming off here. Or something like that. Yeah, so this thing here is going to have to be pretty long, but that's okay, we can do that. Okay, so let me get this stuff welded up and get the projection aligned, and then we can think about the pistons and stuff. Alright, so I've got the blueprint projected out. I ended up moving the rotor and projector to down here, because over here it was going to get in the way because my welders kind of need to be here. So what I'm going to have to do is run some sort of a conveyor system from there to here. Put a conveyor junction here, maybe 2, and then build my little printer from there. Alright, so we got our miniature conveyor system up and running, so now we'll just add ourselves a piston. Now, I really hope that I actually have enough room to do this. So, I honestly not sure if I will. I'll try and move the blueprint back by a couple of blocks. Maybe like 3 blocks, and we'll see how we go with that. Alright, well that's back by 3 blocks, and it is clearing the roof. However, I think I probably need to raise it because... yeah, so I think... alright, what I'm going to do is just get rid of these 2 things. I'm going to get rid of this door.
Inventory full.
Okay. And then I'm just going to place it there. Okay, there we go. So, let's try it from there. I reckon this should be absolutely fine. So we'll place a piston there. Where are my welders? They're not on the same menu, are they? Okay, then we'll grab a welder and we will place it. Just stop twitching around. Let me place it. What is going on here? There we go. Up. Okay. That is strange. And then if we go like that, it's actually at a pretty decent level. Yeah, so even then, I think I'm going to have to manually weld up the drills.
Energy low.
But that's not too bad. Let me raise it up and center it a little bit, and then we can start printing this thing. Okay, well, everything is set up, ready to go. I've decided to cut out a little bit of this roof just so that it clears. Because it was kind of getting close. So once I actually go ahead and weld up this and a welding ship, then I'll just kind of plug the hole in the roof. So yeah, all I really need to do... actually, I could probably even move it back a little bit further and then just get everything welded up. I need to see though how far forward this thing goes. So let's weld all of this up, see how far forward it goes, and that'll kind of determine how far back this blueprint can go. Alright, so it's all set up. I moved it back by like 2 blocks, I think it was, and it's very close. I think these actually will clear. Not sure, but like I said, not a big deal to weld those up by hand. But yeah, this certainly makes it a lot easier to get the rest of this stuff done. So to drill this stuff out by hand probably took me as long as it did to actually weld all these blocks up. If not... actually, welding the blocks up actually takes quite a long time. So, alright, let's get this thing connected to this rotor. And once we do that, we can actually go ahead and print this thing. Okay, there we go. So, now that that's attached, let's go ahead and push this piston forward. And I'm going to set a really low speed, just to... yeah, and then slap it in reverse, turn these welders on, and it should just print the whole thing really quickly. Although before I do any of that, I need to just make sure that I've got enough components. So I'll probably just go ahead and manufacture like several thousand of each type of component because, you know, honestly, probably going to need it anyway, so might as well do it now so that we don't run out halfway through printing this thing. And I've got to dig into it to, you know, kind of complete a battery or something right in the center. So, alright, let's do that first, and then we shall print it. Okay, and there we have it. So I think the printer got everything. I don't see any incomplete blocks. Only problem is I printed the Mark 1 with the stock vanilla thrusters, where I wanted the sci-fi ones, but that's alright. We're only probably going to use it in this tunnel and then, you know, kind of grind this whole thing down anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. So let us just check the projector and make sure that we actually got everything here. Because it's a subgrid, should be white. And yeah, there's nothing there left to build, so this thing is completely done. Anyway guys, that's pretty much all I got time for in this episode. Next episode I will be printing out another Midas, which is the world ship, and then from there we'll get this whole section cut out. I'll put in the tracks, I'll put in the train, but I'll only do the bottom half of it, and I'll turn it into some sort of a welding carriage, and possibly like a drilling carriage at the same time. Maybe I'll use this to drill out the whole lot, or maybe I'll build something else. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do there. So, alright, anyway guys, really hope you enjoyed the episode, and I will see you next time.